Toodaloo. 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 Yeah!
Thanks.
Let's move to that location. Up here.
Don't shoot!
Toodaloo!
Here.
Thanks.
Let's head home at the east elevator. Over here. An arc orbiter is en route. The safe window is closing. You have 10 minutes to return to Speranza. I repeat, 10 minutes. Could be something. Over here. Found a spot. This might be worth checking. Crash mat. Over here.
Appreciate it.
You have access. Go on, Raider. The elevator is ready. So, secure yourself and travel back to Esperanza.
Yeah, drop the beat.
The gaming handheld market has completely exploded over the last couple of years. We've gotten things like the Steam Deck and the Lenovo Legion Go 2 and the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X and even the Nintendo Switch 2. And on paper, you'd think picking the right handheld should be easy, right? You just pick the one with the most power. But after spending months with all of these handhelds, I think that most people are actually buying the wrong one for them. And the one that I'd actually recommend to most people is not the one that I originally expected. So let's figure out which handheld you should actually buy. So what actually matters when choosing the right handheld for you? Well, I think it's usually a mix of a couple different things. It's price, or I guess value for price. It's performance, it's the kind of games that you play or the games that you want to play. And honestly, even though this might be ranked lower for some people, it's the design. It's whether it's something that feels comfortable in your hand for a long period of time. It's whether it looks good. Like if you have something really ugly but it's really powerful, for some people, they don't want to buy that because, well, me in particular, I like looking at nice and pretty things. So if I have this butt ugly handheld that maybe performs really well, sure, I'll use it in my house, but I'm not going to travel with it because people are like, what is that guy doing? Again, in the PC world where frame's the most important thing, I don't think that's the most important factor, and it's definitely ranked the lowest out of the three that I just mentioned. But there's a reason why the Nintendo Switch 2 looks the way it does. There's a reason why it's so aesthetically pleasing, because they want it to be friendly and something that you can grab and feel comfortable holding and looking at. And of course, within each one of these categories, there are subcategories like software experience, and I already touched on comfort a little bit. Ease of use is a big one, and one that we'll actually talk about a lot in today's video. And battery life, that's a huge one too. It's important to remember, especially now that handhelds are so expensive, with the cheapest one being something like the Nintendo Switch at about $500, that it's not all about FPS. So when it comes to gaming handhelds, there's essentially three categories. I'm sure there's more, but those are the three main ones that people focus on. You've got Android handhelds, things like the AYN Thor. You've got PC handhelds, things like the Steam Deck, the Asus ROG Ally X, the Lenovo Legion Go 2, and then of course you've got the gaming consoles, the Nintendo Switch 2s of the world. And each one of these categories come with their own benefits. The Android handhelds generally are cheaper, but they're significantly less powerful. They're essentially Android devices, so they can really only play Android games. Of course, you can mod them and download emulators. And I think for most people playing on these Android handhelds, it's mostly about emulation and playing retro games. And that's an important category, but we're not going to talk about it as much in today's video. These types of handhelds are significantly cheaper, but they also are the kind of handhelds where you kind of get what you pay for. And some of the setups for these devices are insane. I feel like I'm a pretty techie person. I've got a whole YouTube channel about tech, but I still took 3 hours to set up the AYN Thor, and it took even longer to get that thing actually working in dual screen in DS emulation. Now, to be fair, this was my first major emulation device. I hadn't really done a lot of Android emulation, but man, it took a minute. And the way that I view these Android handhelds are for people that are either extremely budget conscious, they don't want to spend more than a couple $100. They're enthusiasts. These are people who are willing to tinker for hours on end and have games that sometimes just randomly corrupt and you lose your save files. And they're for people who just want to play retro games. And generally, the people that buy these handhelds have some other sort of gaming device, whether it's a PC, a game console, or maybe even another handheld gaming device. In my case, as a tech reviewer, I have tons and tons and tons of handheld gaming devices, and these are the ones that I kind of go to if nothing else is working. I know that's not the case for everybody, but for me, that's just honest. But let's talk about the two main categories, the ones that most people focus on, and that's PC gaming handhelds and basically the Nintendo Switch. I guess you can say the PlayStation Portal is kind of that too, but it requires an internet connection. It doesn't really count, so we're just gonna call it the Switch and all of your PC gaming handhelds. Now, what I love about PC gaming handhelds is that they are essentially a little handheld laptop. It's incredible. I mean, sure, some of them are beefy. The Lenovo Legion Go 2 is a massive device, but the power that this thing has is kind of absurd for a handheld. I'm gonna wipe off all the fingerprints on the screen. I've been playing a lot, honestly, a lot of 2K. I need to test more games. I test games here and there, but I really need to be testing more than just 2K, guys. Although, for all you Sixers fans out there, LeBron and Jaylen Brown, huh? Pretty cool. That's why I changed the background. We got Iverson for the Sixers season. Okay, this device is very, very powerful, as are many PC gaming handhelds. Not everyone, obviously, but they are more powerful than something like the Nintendo Switch 2. And because of that, these devices are able to run full operating systems. In the case of the Steam Deck, you're running SteamOS. There are some other handheld devices that run SteamOS as well. However, the most common operating system for these handheld gaming PCs is full fat Windows, sometimes with the Xbox experience overlaid on top of it. Now, what's great about these devices is that you can play your full Steam library in your hands in a way that you never could before. You can be playing Diablo 3 securely on your computer, save it out, and then continue the quest on your handheld. I don't know if they're called quests or missions or whatever they're called. I haven't played that much Diablo 3, but that's just an example of how it works. I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. A lot of you guys watching this video probably do own some of these handhelds because my channel is really heavily based on these PC gaming handhelds. It's something that I'm really interested in, so it's something that I talk about a lot. So this little section is for people who maybe don't completely understand the PC gaming handheld world. Within this world, there are two major operating systems, full fat Windows and SteamOS. We already kind of talked about those a little bit. SteamOS essentially is an OS running on top of Linux that allows you to play Steam games. Not every Steam game, but a lot of Steam games that are compatible with the system. It's basically the game console-ified version of a PC gaming handheld. The Steam Deck feels like a PlayStation almost. You turn it on, your games are there if you've downloaded them, and you just kind of play. Whereas a Windows device is truly a little miniature laptop. Of course, you can play your entire Steam library, and in most cases you can play your entire Steam library, unlike games that are running on the Steam Deck, mainly because certain anti-cheats only run on Windows, and a Windows device will allow you to play things like Fortnite and Call of Duty and Battlefield 6. These are all very popular games that you just cannot run on your Steam Deck, and a lot of times these Windows devices are significantly more powerful than the SteamOS devices. However, more power does not always equal mo frames. And that's because while these devices might be more powerful, Windows is not specifically designed for each one of these devices individually, whereas SteamOS generally is optimized for each one of these devices, or the devices are optimized for SteamOS. Similar to iPhones and Androids, you can maybe have an incredibly powerful Android device that runs an app slower than on an older iPhone just because the app is made specifically for the iPhone, whereas it might not be perfectly optimized for your LG Wing. And this problem sort of permeates throughout all PC gaming handhelds. While SteamOS devices are significantly easier to update, while they play games that they can play very smoothly, they can't play every game. The problem with Windows devices is that you are updating every 5 seconds. Updates that feel meaningless, like Solitaire. Why am I updating that every other day? It's ridiculous. Games that might run incredibly well on a slightly less powerful SteamOS device don't always run as well on a Windows device that's more powerful because it's not optimized for that system or that hardware or that software. And everyone's experience kind of varies because all these different handhelds vary. Everyone's update states are different. It's just like this huge world of like, there are so many different factors and problems and issues that can make having one of these PC gaming handhelds incredible, but at the same time really frustrating. And one of those frustrations, sometimes caused by literally just the operating system, can be your battery life. You can be playing the same exact game at the same exact settings, one on SteamOS, one on Windows, and the Windows device will die sooner. Even if the battery is the same size, even at the same TDP, the Windows device could be running background tasks that the SteamOS device isn't. That's just killing the battery and slowing down performance. But again, that's one of the trade-offs. For more power and more compatibility, you are going to deal with mo issues. Such a stupid joke. Now, I've done whole buyer's guides on which PC gaming handheld you should buy for your specific needs, and I would still recommend checking out those videos. This video is not so much telling you about whether you should buy the new MSI Claw EX8AI Plus or whether you should buy the Asus ROG Ally X. This video is primarily about whether you should buy a PC gaming handheld or a Nintendo Switch. And that brings us to the Nintendo Switch 2, a device which on paper seems like the wrong choice. I think if you've watched any of my PC gaming handheld buyer's guides before, you probably know what's coming next. And that said, I think most people are buying the wrong PC gaming handheld. In fact, I don't even think they're buying the right kind of handheld. I think they should be buying a Nintendo Switch 2. Sure, the Nintendo Switch 2 comes in at around $450 to $500, but there are other PC gaming handhelds that are more powerful and come in at the same exact price. Examples like the Asus ROG Xbox Ally. And that's just one of the brand new options. There's actually older, more powerful used options that you can get for the same price as well. So while sure, the Nintendo Switch 2 is not $1,000 or $2,000 like some of the PC gaming handhelds out there right now, it's not the cheapest option. It's also definitely not the most powerful, not even close to the most powerful device that we've talked about today. It's probably one of the least powerful devices that we've talked about, if not the least powerful. I mean, look at it. It's a little tablet. Like it's a little Nintendo tablet. It's almost like toy looking, right? I mean, compared to something like the Lenovo Legion Go 2, and we're talking about man tablet. This is like, hey, what's up? I'm your friend Jimmy from down the street. This is like, I'm your friend Jimmy's dad from down the street. You guys are getting a rare insight into my head, and I apologize for that. But I think one of the biggest arguments for this device, and it's actually one of the biggest reasons why I like SteamOS, is that this is literally plug in and play. Just about every single game on this device is specifically designed for this device and optimized for the Nintendo Switch 2. So every game that you play on this device should run incredibly well on the Nintendo Switch 2. These games aren't meant to be run on like a Steam Deck, which is a super low-end and low-power device, and then also run on the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which is a super high-end and high-power device, where the gap between the power of these devices is insane. You're running it all on one device.
As soon as you're talking about a Steam Deck that's nearly $1,000, you're out of it.
It's RDNA 2 and it's Zen 2. I mean, these are really old now.
I couldn't see